It's that time once again where we get to sit down with media personnel, podcaster, writer, journalist from an opponent coming in to Fort Wayne to face off against Fort Wayne FC. And we do that on this show called Crests Colors. Tonight, I have with me David Adams from the Tumbleweed Times out there covering AV Alta and Antelope Valley. That's what AV stands for. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Antelope Valley in near Los Angeles, California, LA County, I believe, is where you guys are located. My name's Brian, host of Fort Wayne Footy, and just love being able to sit down and talk with folks from around USL League One to hear about the teams, the supporters, and the soccer culture in their community. David, welcome to the show, man. Glad to have you join us tonight.
I am pumped to be here. I was telling you beforehand, for those listening in, I've got family that lives there in Fort Wayne. So when it was announced that y'all were coming up from USL League 2 into League 1, I am probably the world's most excited person about the AV Fort Wayne overlap here. So this is the David Adams Derby. I'm pumped for this and excited to be on the show tonight. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked to a lot of podcasters on this particular show. And so people that are, used to being in front of a mic and talking and whatever, you do a lot of writing, and not that you're not comfortable in front of a mic. I'm not saying that, but your spin on things is a little different. Like you approach the game and the pre-match and the post-match stuff from a writing perspective, not so much, talking about it podcasting perspective. And there's probably a lot of similarities there. But tell us, we'll get into that here in a minute. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us what you do with Tumbleweed Times.
Yeah, so I grew up in the Central Florida area. I've got the sad Orlando Magic fandom that's still stuck with me to bear witness to that. And moved out here to California in 2011. Been out here ever since in Lancaster. We are in Southern California, but think Joshua trees, think cactus, think sand, not sunny beaches and palm trees. And San Diego is as beautiful as all that is. And so lived out here ever since, and played soccer at a kid rec level growing up. I was never some aficionado or something like that, but always loved the game, loved sports in general. And we had a minor league baseball team here in town, actually wearing some of their old gear, the Lancaster Jethawks. But during COVID, some of the minor league systems got consolidated anyway, and there was only one team in California that got cut, and it happened to be us. And so there was no team out here without driving down through about 2 hours worth of LA traffic to get down to an LAFC or LA Galaxy match or something like that. And so when the USL brought a team out here to the Antelope Valley, about 400,000 people or so, it was great. We got to have a team of our own and come in on the ground level of that. And so started following along. I'd written a little bit for some friends' sports blogs on NFL and fantasy football and things like that. And so I figured, hey, this is my opportunity. There's probably not a whole lot of competition here for third-tier soccer blogging, and jumped in, and it's been a lot of fun, and gotten to meet people in the club and in the community and the supporters groups and some of that because of it. And so I try to write game recaps as much as anything else. But sometimes I'll talk a little bit about a player breakdown or profile, talk a little bit about the stat side of things, and then even just some sillier articles at different times. Collaborated with a friend about trying to predict some of the best rivalries in USL One and how things played out there, look at some different nicknames for the team or whatever the case might be. So just trying to tackle a little bit of everything when it comes to AV Alta, and it's been a real enjoyable journey so far.
Yeah. I read before we get into like the soccer stuff and AV Alta, I read your most recent article, I believe, on your Substack, which we definitely want to point people to that. It's what is it? tumbleweedtimes.substack.com. If you're interested in David's writing, talking about the beginning of the season and the win streak you guys have started. But you mentioned 3 other teams that you follow that their coaches were sacked in the last year. So I'm curious who else you follow.
Oh man! So so I mentioned Orlando Magic on the basketball side of things, the hometown team. And then on the pro football side of things, growing up in the Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady rivalry for all of my Indiana listeners here. I'm sorry I didn't pick the Peyton Manning side of things, but I didn't pick the Tom Brady side of things either. I just decided to be contrarian, and I went for the Ravens. Just go full defense, no offense at all in that era. And so
Right.
I've got the Ray Lewis jersey hanging up there. So Harbaugh's been great for us, but it was time for a change there. And then on the British soccer side of things, I am a Wolves fan. So I love the kind of gold and black look that y'all have. Is reminiscent of my British fandom. But let's just say that our season did not go as well. We were 20th out of 20. Pro Rel is a lot less fun when you're going down. And so somehow I decided to jump into a league all the way on the other side of the world, and did so right after our Europa League run. And so I came in right at the high point. It's all been downhill since then, as the owners have not really invested in the club. So yeah, between Wolves, the Magic, the Ravens, and Alta's slide at the start of this year, really reconsidering a lot of life choices. But Alta's finally turning things around.
Yeah, I grew up in Cincinnati myself, and so I'm very familiar with teams that have high expectations and don't end up going anywhere. But those teams don't seem to fire their managers in Cincinnati and their coaches like they should at times. But
y'all are stable, if nothing else. You can take that positively or negatively.
That's right. The owner is stable. Yeah, that is. Yeah, we'll just leave that one there for sure. Let's get talking about a little bit of soccer. We do have a question already in the chat because you mentioned it, just looking at League One rivalries. And I want to get into AV Alta here in just a second too, but you mentioned doing a collaboration with a friend about some League One rivalries. What did you find to be so far the best League One rivalry? And now with the context, this is a pretty new thing, right? AV Alta has only been around for just a season ahead of us, I believe.
Yeah, so the way that the article kind of played out is that a friend and I went back and forth drafting what we thought the best League One rivalry was going to be in 2028. So a little bit of projection was built in as well, and trying to kind of figure it out, especially heading into the season. It felt kind of like everyone wanted a piece of Hearts of Pine, obviously big fan base, hit the ground running in year one. So I think like Hearts Cosmos was up near the top of that draft. Just kind of you could project it out into the future a little bit better. But the best ones right now, probably Richmond Madison is already regarded as pretty established.
Okay.
And then once we taken Richmond Madison off the board, Madison versus Omaha is another pretty established rivalry. And so kind of bouncing around and sort of trying to play it as a draft. Hey, let's get some new ones. Is someone going to double down on another Madison rival? And so Madison Omaha slipped to 12th out of the 12 picks that we drafted. And let's just say that some Omaha and Madison fans felt disrespected that rivalry was too low. So Midwest Nice did not, the gloves came off a little bit there. So Madison's in the middle of a couple of really good ones already with Richmond and Omaha. Those are probably among the best.
And then the two teams that have been established for a while too, right? So it's hard to anticipate rivalries when you've got new teams like AV Alta in 2025 and new teams like Fort Wayne FC in 2026, and a few others, Corpus Christi moving up. I imagine rivalries will shift and change, and the ones that are established, if teams stick around like we hope they do, will just get more and more bitter, maybe. Madison's actually the closest team to us, and we haven't seen them yet. They're about 7 hours from us in Fort Wayne, and so we're trying to figure out, is this going to be something that will generate some rivalry attention, or is it too far away for us? So we're trying to figure that one out still.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I think y'all and Madison went like 9th in our draft or something like that. So a little bit of projection there, but getting some of that geography is always exciting for us out here in the West Coast. And for y'all in the Midwest, geographically close means a little bit less than it does for Florida and the Southeast. All of these lucky people having teams in driving range. But yeah, we'll see how Boise Spokane goes. We knocked off Orange County from the USL Championship in the Open Cup last year, and we get them in the USL Cup next weekend. And we've already been posting, just hyping that as a rivalry game. I don't know if they see us as little brothers, but hey, we beat them the first time around, so we're going to take our shot in round 2 as well. But
heck yeah,
it's fun to see those. I know y'all got Indy 11 recently in the USL Cup, so even kind of across tiers and levels, just getting some of those games and building out that fan culture, building out that brotherly love or hate or whatever it ends up being on both sides is a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, tell us a little bit about AV Alta. You guys have been around just about a season ahead of us. I think you started in 2025. What was the buildup like rolling into that first season, and what's it been like since you guys started?
Yeah, so I believe it was late 23 that we got announced that there was going to be a USL club coming. There'd been a little bit of buzz before then, but once that announcement hit was when everything kind of kicked off. In May of 25, or of 24 rather, there's an area kind of our little downtown. It's called the Boulevard, and there was a big rally down there on the Boulevard, and they announced the official branding and the name of the team and all of that. There were probably a couple thousand people that showed up to that, and just good time, a lot of energy, and just trying to build from there. Our first signing was Lancaster native Miguel Ibarra. He's towards the back end of his career now, but he played in MLS. I think he even got a few Team USA caps. And so bringing in a hometown player to kind of be that veteran mentor, and as well as giving a couple of minutes for the team, really making it real for the community, signing players throughout then December, January, February, heading into 2025. We kicked off in March of 25. First home game was our first win against Westchester in April of last year. And really just building from there. We went on a little bit of the USL or a US Open Cup run, took down MLS Next LAFC 2. It's the B side, but getting to play any LAFC branded team is still going to bring some eyeballs to it for us. Beat Orange County, and then went to Dallas and lost in kind of the MLS entry round. And we're doing great. We beat Omaha on 4th of July weekend to put us in second place in the league. And from there, the wheels completely fell off over the rest of our season. Went to Charlotte with 3 games left to play, lost on a stoppage time goal to them. Came back and beat Richmond in our home finale, but then went into Portland last year, had to have a win to make the playoffs, plus get help from Charlotte, and came away with a bonkers 2-2 draw to fall just short. And so that slide then carried into the start of this season, and we were winless in our first 7, but then took down Madison a couple weekends back and won our last 3 since then. So it's been very up and down overall. We had some pretty high highs relative to the League One level, but then some fairly low lows as well. And so hopefully the momentum picks up a little bit. But the fan journey has been really cool, seeing just so many people packing the Boulevard for the debut there. Selling out our 5,300 seat stadium for the home opener was incredible. And just there's been a lot of energy around the team at different points, and obviously frustration with some of the lows and things as well. Yeah. But the community building out with it has been really cool. And, you see merch around in the community and things like that. It's just neat to see it all coming together.
Yeah. Where is your stadium located? Is it close to in town, or is it out on the suburb somewhere?
So it's a little bit more on the western edge of town, but it's not like a long drive. I mean, from my house, it's probably about 7-8 minutes on a game day, so it's pretty much right there. It's pretty easy to get people to. There's buses and stuff that run. It's right next to our larger movie theater in town and some stuff like that. So it's pretty accessible for people.
Yeah, I think that's important. I've talked to, some other podcasters around in Sarasota. I know they moved outside of town a little bit, different audience, different crowds been coming to the games since then. And so I'm just curious, where everybody's stadium's located. Ours is like right off of the highway. Like you could hit a rock with your tire and it spin funny and hit the side of the stadium. Like it's that close to the highway. Pretty accessible. But we've got some I don't know. There's one way in and one way out right now while they're still finishing up some construction. So we're hoping for a second entrance here soon once that's all done, 4th of July. So, yeah, I think that's important to get fan base behind it, is to have a stadium in a place that's really accessible for people to get to. And for us, one of the things that we found, and maybe it's true for you, I'd be curious, is you got a lot of soccer fans going to the stadium, number one, but we've started seeing people. We've only had 5 home games, right? And the stadium's not finished yet, so people are still kind of hesitant, staying away. But those who have started showing up that aren't soccer fans yet are coming and going, I'm just curious. I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see what the environment's like. I've never been to a professional soccer game, and falling in love with like what's happening. This is a lot of fun, and I see people that I haven't seen in years, right? So it's kind of become our own Paul Johnson that's in the chat tonight wrote an article about the stadium just kind of being a place to be. Like, it's a social spot now for people in the city to come together and just see people. So I'm curious, like, as you look at, what AV Alta is building out there, is it something similar to, it's a social environment? You love soccer. Yes, you'll be there anyway. But are people coming just to kind of be part of the environment?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a community building aspect that's going on with it. Shout out to Panchito, our head of community relations. He has probably met just about everyone in the Antelope Valley at some point over the last couple of years, talking to him about it. And yeah, just trying to do even more things this year with families and things like that. Having things in the stadium for the families and kids and all of that that's coming. So yeah, there's people that I mean, I'm there. I love the game of soccer itself and the deep dive into, our fullback is inverting and, here was our XG from last game and whatever, random stuff with it. But yeah, there's definitely been times that I've seen friends there from work or whatever the case might be. And I'm like, I don't know that what a 4-4-3 is or a 4-4-2 or whatever. I don't know if you've ever heard those terms in your life, but yeah, just coming to for a fun night with friends, and yeah, it's been really cool to see some of that start to take shape here in the AV for sure.
Yeah, we do have our chat open for our Footy faithful, our Patreon supporters. So those of you who are watching, if you have questions as we go, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll see which ones we can get to and how many we can get to. So something special tonight for our Footy faithful. If you're interested in being part of that, we'll do more of these live stream special shows. Would love to have you join us there. But David, as you look at year one, you kind of walked us through the ups and downs, which honestly concerns me a little bit because we're on a high right now. 6 games unbeaten here in Fort Wayne. We haven't hit July yet. And to hear where you guys were July 4th and the slide you took, I'm like, oh, don't let that happen to us, please, this season. But what changes have you seen the team make, the club make in personnel and player and formation, maybe from year one to year two?
Well, let me mention, I was messaging our sporting director before the season. I think that's one of the cool things about clubs kind of at this tier. You're able to start building some connections with people in the club. And I asked him, hey, there's some of the big names. Omaha's good every year. Spokane's made back-to-back finals. Boise's come in with a lot of money. Who's kind of a dark horse, who's a roster that you look at or a front office you look at and you say, hey, there might be something to these people even outside of the big spotlight. And he shouted you guys out. He said that your sporting director has a really good reputation at this level. So, slumps can happen to anyone for sure, but there's people outside of just Indiana that think y'all are building something interesting here. So hopefully y'all avoid the slump, right?
So.
Yeah, I think in terms of changes from year one to year two, we were already a pretty young team in 2025, but some of the players that moved on, and I think one of the things we had to get used to at this level is just that players will just move on year over year. It's not like a larger professional league where they've got a 3-year contract, 4-year contract, and you sort of know when it's coming. There'll be players who just head out. And we went pretty young in replacing them. I know some of y'all's main players have been signed right from the college ranks. We had some guys who were a little bit more established, maybe had been in USL League One for a couple of seasons, or even the MLS Next Pro environment for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
That have moved on. So one of our starting center backs last year, Luca Mastrantonio, he had been part of a title-winning Omaha team, joined us, and then he left this offseason for Naples, and we pretty much just stood pat. We didn't bring in, who's another 28-year-old veteran that we can bring in that's got some pedigree, and we went out and signed a college guy from University of San Diego, and we said, hey, you're just going to kind of slot into the mix that we have right now, and if you can win a job, awesome. Blancas was second team all league last year for us. He moved up to Monterey Bay. Sebastian Cruz was one of the few non-Omaha players to follow their coach Casiato to Tampa Bay, and I mean he's been going full 90s for them as they lead the Eastern Conference there. And we just signed a 19-year-old Godwin Antwi from University of San Diego, and signed a 16-year-old prospect from the LAFC system, and we just went really young with it. So that's, I think, been maybe the biggest change in terms of off the field, just kind of restocking, going relatively young. I think there's some buzz that a couple of teams, and I'd probably put AV in this category, aren't as likely to spend big on a bit more proven players until pro rel hits. Bragging rights are awesome right now, but if we can be a developmental team and try to kind of bring in some of that Southern California talent, build them up, keep them moving, that fits more the model we're looking at without as much financial incentive to maybe, try to work our way up the table right now.
Yeah.
Obviously,
the Dortmund of LA County then, right? Bring in talent while they're young, develop them and sell them high.
Yeah, I got to interview our coach in the offseason, and he mentioned Ajax and Club Brugge, and just kind of that position that they play in the European ecosystem of, hey, good team in the Dutch league, good team in the Belgian league. I mean, we want to go get wins, but if there's players moving on and moving up, that's a part of it. So I think that's a big off-the-field change for us, or kind of roster construction change. Yeah. On the field, it's even kind of bit of a spoiler for some of our discussion of style later.
Yeah.
Very high possession team. We love us some desert tiki taka out here in the AV. We're moderating that a little bit this year. We've got a bit more verticality to the game, a little bit more ability for wingers to just take a man on and go this year. And so that's, I think, helpful. I think last year we were pretty good at what we were good at and really didn't have much of a change up to rely on. So being able to play a little bit more that way. I saw something in John Morrissey's article on Backheel that last year we were at 3.0 recoveries per 90 in opponent's final third, which lower pressing number. This year we've gone from 3.0 to 5.3, which leads League One right now. So finding those opportunities to kind of come up and press, just adding different ways to be able to create chances and create pressure, as opposed to just death by 1,000 midfield passes, I think is working for us. We're still second in the league in possession. That's definitely our fastball. That's definitely how we like to play. But a little bit more diverse has helped us out in 2026 so far.
Yeah. That kind of excites me, actually, because I think Fort Wayne they've adjusted their style and they've adapted. Coach Avery has adapted from, started with a 3-back, 5-back with wing backs to a back 4. We'll shift back to a back 5, in this last match against Boise to hold them off, sat back in a low block. But we've got guys up top like Lillian Rico that can counter. You catch a defense pressing and get a ball over the top, and he'll take the top off of it, and has done it several times. So it kind of excites me. Like, bring on the pressure. Let's see what we can do with this. So, but that'll be a fun game to watch this Saturday, just with the different styles of play. Fort Wayne is also a very young team, youngest in the league, I believe, at 23.4 years or something in average age. So a lot of guys, as you mentioned, straight out of college, a couple 19-year-olds, a 17-year-old on the squad that, and everybody's getting rotation right now, getting in the rotation. There's been 2 that have not, that I've seen, 2 of the younger guys. But for the most part, we've had some injuries. Guys like Ryan Betcher out of Omaha last year came in, having scored 9 goals last year for Omaha. And we were like, oh, man, this guy's our goal scorer. and we've got Recol and we've got Healy leading the league with 5 goals apiece right now. And Betcher's got 1 to his name, but has been injured pretty much since then. So it'll be, I don't know if he'll be back this week or not, but to see the style of play that you guys bring will be something. It's been fun to watch, just every team coming in and what they do differently. So we had another question a couple times it came up about the fan reaction, the name, the colors, where did the name come from, and all of that. AV is Antelope Valley, but Alta, where does that come from?
Yeah, so Alta is definitely a little bit more of a left field name. It is actually, so back in the 1800s, when all of this area belonged to Spanish Mexico, essentially, we've heard of like Baja California, right? So Baja, Lower California, Alta is higher California, essentially. So there's actually kind of some long range roots with Alta California as the name. And then so just kind of finding that even with the historical, and then even kind of invoking like altitude with all the aerospace industry that's out here. We're very close to Edwards Air Force Base. Okay. And so, I mean, we've got Boeing and Northrop Grumman and all of those plants out here. So kind of a little bit of a nod to that. I think it's one of the less intuitive names in League One. And even in terms of, okay, maybe it's not, whatever, the Lions or something like that. But okay, well, a United or just the AVFC or something like that. But I think it's something that at least kind of rolls off the tongue, and I think people are getting more familiar with it. Sure. So that part, I think, is not that it's a bad that you have to acquire the taste, otherwise you wouldn't like it. But I think it's just a little surprising, what's that kind of thing. But I think people are coming around in terms of the colors. The colors are absolutely what a team out here should be. We're in the middle of a desert, so the sand very much makes sense. And then the green, kind of some of the Joshua trees around here. If you see a Western movie with Joshua trees, they either flew around the world to the Middle East. I think Israel's got some of them, or they went 2 hours up from Hollywood. So probably that one. Yeah, sure. If you see a Joshua tree in a movie, you're probably seeing somewhere close to here. And so the green, kind of invoking that really unique local sort of thing, is definitely colors that very much make sense for out here. So I think the colors landed right away. Our first home jersey had kind of a sublimated dark green Joshua tree against a little bit of a lighter green base, and so they've really leaned into that side of things. So yeah, a bit of an unusual name. It wasn't just quite as straightforward as Antelope Valley United or something like that, but I think it's catching on. Yeah. We got one in the chat. Love that there's a reason for the Alta, much more grassrooted than like an FC or an SC. And, the teams I root for are all FC. And I always kind of like, I wish we had a nickname. I wish we had an Alta, or wish we had a Lions, or wish we had something. But it is what it is. And I can't change that. So anyway, talk about the supporter culture out there. We've talked a little bit about that earlier in the show, but expound on that a little bit. What you're seeing out there in Antelope Valley. Yeah, I think there is a growing community awareness in a big picture sense with buses, bus ads and billboards and things like that. But really the heart of it is kind of a constellation of supporters groups. Last year, there's really one main one, the 661 SG. 661 is the area code out here, and they were really leading the way with it. This past offseason, a couple of others popped up, but when they converted the stadium from the former minor league baseball field to a soccer stadium, so it is still kind of laid out. You can definitely tell it's got baseball roots, but we aren't playing on El Paso or Knoxville or something like that. That's a baseball stadium that they slapped a soccer field down onto. This got fully converted over, and it's beautiful stadium. And the north end is like a standing wall for the supporters groups. And so there's some signage this year. It's just the green wall is kind of the collection of those supporters groups, and they've done just an outrageous job. They've done really well. This year, I mean, they're breaking out like tifos every week. You gotta go back and look at some of the stuff that they've put together. They're doing a great job, drums and horns and chants and flares and the whole 9 yards. So they've done a really wonderful job in terms of leading the way in game day atmosphere, leading the way in terms of community connection to the team. And so I think that's kind of pioneered it. The general, fan that's showing up to a game, still interacting, still learning the team. And that's going to be a multi-year process. It's not going to all come into place on day one. But there were people even so when USL Antelope Valley got announced before we were AV Alta or any of that, before we had colors and a logo and all that, they were showing up at the stadium that was still a construction site once a week for drum practice and chant practice and just getting together and building that out. They get together and tailgate before the game. So yeah, the 661 SG, Union 14, some of the different ones, Ultra Altas, a couple of the different groups have done a really wonderful job bringing that game day atmosphere.
Yeah, no, that's great. The Three Rivers Regiment is a supporter group here in Fort Wayne. I've built out the Hive, which is like your green wall. It's our area. Still filling that out, and again, construction is still happening at the stadium, so it won't probably be full for a while. But I think a soccer match is not a soccer match without a group beating drums and chanting and waving flags and smoke. And so I just love the supporter groups that come around to create that environment and that atmosphere to make it what it is. So love to hear, I watched some clips of one of your matches and saw the green wall and saw kind of the layout of your stadium just to get a sense of, what it would be like when Fort Wayne travels out there later this season. I'm always interested in stadium setups and all that supporter culture. What is match day experience? You kind of talked about that a little bit too with tifos and drums and all that. If someone were to walk into a game for the first time, what is that? What are they going to experience?
So first of all, if you guys make it out to a game out here, when you walk into the stadium, there is a retired FA-18 Hornet fighter jet that's just mounted outside the stadium. So you're walking underneath this fighter jet to enter the stadium, which is just a really cool look. You're coming in kind of essentially where old home plate or behind where old home plate would have used to be.
Okay.
When you're watching one of our games, so the camera is positioned on the old third baseline out across the field. So you see kind of that far eastern stand. If anything, that's probably one of our emptier stands. So it undersells a little bit some of where the fans are. A lot of the fans are in that old baseball kind of third base around the first base line.
Okay.
And then the supporters wall is out in kind of the old left field section. So yeah, it's usually pretty full. Last year, I think we were third in the league in attendance. This year, I think we're at fifth right now. Obviously, Boise's hit the ground running. Madison's up ahead of us a little bit right now. But it's pretty full. But there's always seats available. There's some taco food trucks. I think there's a Chick-fil-A kind of little truck thing as well. And it's a cool atmosphere. That sort of walk behind the stands of that old kind of baseball layout is where a lot of the kind of comings and goings are. A lot of people will congregate on the south side by old first base. That's where some of the food trucks are before the game, underneath that south goal. And so usually at kickoff, there's still a bunch of people getting their tacos or talking with friends or whatever the case is down there, kind of finding their seats right about as kickoff starts up. But yeah, it's a good time. In the summer, it gets pretty disgustingly hot out here during the daytime. But when the sun goes down and that breeze hits, honestly, it's pretty nice. 75 or 80 even in the summertime with 5-10% humidity. Perks of living in a desert when it finally gets cool.
That's so, right. Yeah.
Beautiful weather when everything cools down.
Well, David, I think you've sold me, and I want to come out there for a match. August 8th is when Fort Wayne travels to AV Alta for that match. So I'm going to keep that on my radar and see if it's another game. I went down to Naples for their opening match this year on March 7th and just have had my eyes on what other match I could go to. I love the Southwest. I love the desert. And what you just said makes me excited to maybe target that one this year. So we'll see what I can do to get out there this year, maybe next year. So that'd be a lot of fun. Let's move into some talk of Saturday's match, right? AV Alta is coming in on a 3-game win streak. Is that what you guys are on right now?
Yeah, 3-game win streak against some teams. So Madison has started hot. It's been slipping a little bit. We started off against them. Sarasota's underlying numbers are pretty good, but they're still pretty low on the table. And then Cosmos's attack is pretty solid, but their defense isn't among the league elite, we'll just say. And so our schedule softened up a little bit after, getting to, go to Spokane, welcoming Omaha, welcoming Boise, some of the big dogs of the league. But, we needed it. And so we were on a 3-game win streak. We play at El Paso tomorrow night, Wednesday night for some of y'all, depending on when you're watching. Sure. You might be able to go back and look at how that game is played out in the USL Cup. And so we will see what kind of lineup we run out for that. I think it's likely to be a pretty strong one. We rested a couple of our key players on Saturday against Cosmos. And so trying to get maybe steal a little bit of a breather for them to be able to take our shot at a USL championship team in the Cup. We lost our first Cup matchup at New Mexico United. And so if we're going to stay alive in the Cup, we probably need a win on Wednesday night. And so between that game and then going to y'all in good form, we rested a little bit on the weekend, and we're probably going to take our shot. So see who does or doesn't play there. I'll mention a couple of the names and a little bit of some of our main players. Sure. Adam Almish is tied for the league lead with 5 goals. If he doesn't play on Wednesday night, bet on him to start on Saturday, kind of thing. But with 3 games in 8 days, not undoable. Definitely, there's other teams that have that midweek fit in there, but there might be a little bit of rotation between these 3 as we get everything geared up.
Yeah, we've experienced that this month. Saturday, Saturday matches, and I was a little nervous. We talked on our show last night about this trip to Boise, thinking, we've got last place Corpus Christi coming in on a Wednesday night, and then we travel to Boise, who is just incredible at home. And it felt like we rested players, not intentionally. We just said, hey, against Corpus Christi, just sit back and don't run a lot, is what it felt like, and just absorb pressure. And it was a 1-1 draw against Corpus Christi, and then we took it to Boise up there, traveling cross country. So that cross country trip is never easy, especially coming off of really no rest because you played on a Wednesday. Are you guys traveling? Do you know if the team is traveling? It's a question here, directly from Texas to Indiana. Or are they going back to California before they're coming out here on Saturday?
I'd have to bet that they're going to just go straight. Usually we try to get in at least a full day earlier. I think this year we're picking our spots even to get in maybe for a Saturday game, even getting in maybe late on Thursday, especially just because coast to coast travel, it's hard to it's hard to get in the evening before. So instead of coming back out to California on Thursday and then have to turn right back around on Friday, I would bet they are just going to go straight from El Paso there to Fort Wayne on Thursday, get in at whatever time on Thursday, practice on Friday, and then game day on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, we'll look forward to that. Get into a little bit of formation, style of play, and then maybe some of those players that you've already mentioned. Who are the ones we need to watch?
So we are almost certainly going to be in some kind of 4-4-3 or 4-3-3 shape. This year we played a little bit more 4-2-3-1 with like a true 10 than we did last year. Last year we're never really playing with a true 10 style player. Okay. But some kind of shape like that, I think there's only one half that comes to mind or in the last year and a half where we've played like a true back 3, back 5 kind of look. So bet on a back 4, 4-3-3 or something comparable. We're going to try to be pretty high possession. If you go on like SofaScore and look at some of our positioning map from the last game or where our passes were, I think our highest zone was in our own back left against Cosmos, and that's even in a 4-0 win. Pretty comfortable, just sort of moving it around the back line, waiting for opportunities to present themselves. Sometimes maybe a little bit too conservative. I think we're finding some of the balance of that this year, but willing to just possess the ball and patiently kind of suss out our chances. This year, we've got a bit better opportunity. If we find the right chance to get it to a winger and let him go, we're doing a little bit better at crashing the box, finding some central options with that. But more going to be working it up methodically, trying to create pressure through that. The players to keep an eye on, probably our best player this year is going to be Jerry Desdunes. He was a right winger last year. He's mostly played as a 10 this year. The last couple games, our striker has been more of a false 9, so he might line up as a false 9. He's playing more centrally this year. He's small, but he's super quick. He is a very good dribbler, very good creator, really a handful to stay in front of. Even if he's not our player of the match every game, there's usually a 20, 30-minute stretch at some point where he's just moving at a different kind of pace, different kind of back and forth jitterbug intensity than almost anyone else on our team. And so if he goes off, y'all are in for a long day. If y'all can shut him down, we're in for a long day because he's the focal point of our team as much as anyone else. Adam Almish was a little quiet last year out at left wing, but he is in really good form right now. As of a couple hours ago, he's the player of the week. Player of the weeks. We stole an extra USL 1 matchup while most of the rest of the teams were in USL Cup action. But he scored a PK against Sarasota and then got 2 goals and assist against Cosmos. Really good run and finish on his second goal, our third of the game. And again, Cosmos backline, probably not the toughest out there, but just made a couple guys look silly and moved to the goal. And so a lot of times he'll drop back fairly deep to get on the ball. If y'all are able to just sort of keep him back there, he likes cutting inside. So if he's just cutting into the center circle and then having to give it up, again, y'all are going to be in good position. If he is getting inside and off to the races, heading into the central area, his goal against Boise, their midfield just had way too much space. And so he was able to just pick it up and go. Then that's going to be a good sign for us. He's on 5 goals, tied with a couple of your guys for the league lead. And then our defense is more strength in numbers than maybe one uniquely standout player. But I'll highlight Osvaldo Ley, our DM, is probably going to be the one screening our back line. Our defense is okay, kind of middle of the pack. Not bad, but not unusually the strength of our team. Sure. And so if Ley is able to snuff out chances before it even gets to the back line, then we're gonna be in good position. But he's going to have his hands full with a couple of y'all's central attackers. And so Osvaldo Ley, just a kind of a long, smooth DM. We've got Mabumu Alassane. He's sort of the bee buzzing around and getting stuck into tackles. Ley kind of glides around. But between those guys at DM, they're going to need to step up and have a big game from the AV side of things.
Yeah. Coach Avery is a tactician. Like, just I've been amazed watching him and the different formations and styles he rolls out. We talked to Sean Fecto from the Dirigo Union and the friggin' soccer show up there in Portland, and warned us, about their wingers and their quickness, and they're both inverted. They're both going to cut in. And when I saw Coach Avery roll out a defensive line, like they played the back 4, but they played really tight, like tighter than they normally do. So they didn't let the inverted wingers cut in. They kept them out on their off foot, and balls were not served in very often in that match. So it's interesting to hear this. I know these teams scout one another and, look at their style of play. And so it'll be interesting to see how Coach Avery adjusts our guys with AV Alta coming in and knowing your strengths. We've got guys, it sounds like you got a Tag Healy on your team that runs at number 10. He's quick. He's aggressive. He finds ways to create for himself when there's nothing to create from. And he plays with intensity. He's aggressive. And so he's up there at the top of the league with 5 goals. Lillian Recall, obviously. We just had a stat come out from Fort Wayne FC today. showing Recole's top speed in this last match. That was like 24.84 miles per hour or something, putting him atop of Thierry Henry and faster than Kylian Mbappe, and like crazy speed on this guy. And you look at him and you go, he's not going to be that fast. And then he comes out of nowhere. And so he's the guy that can take the top off of defense when pressure's on. You've got guys like Javier Armas and Jeremy Garay playing in that defensive mid position that are able to not only win balls, but kind of call the shots and dish the ball to sideline over the top to Recole and anybody else. We talk about our back line, and we've had some organization issues on the back line here in Fort Wayne. But it's been fun to see them grow into it, playing in Reed Sproat and Tiago Dias playing together in USL 2 with Anthony Hernandez that has been getting time in and out. With those three on that back line, very familiar with one another. But it was always, how are they going to perform in the next level? And so to see the organization, the leadership step up, and our defense has gotten better and better as the season's gone on. I look back, you mentioned the Cosmos. Cosmos was our last loss. And that was our third game of the season, in league play. We lost to Louisville and we lost to Indy in cup play, but in league play, we broke through the back line against Cosmos time and time again, and just couldn't find the net. And they ended up beating us pretty handily because of that. And so anyway, it's just been fun to see these guys grow into their positions. And do we have a standout back? I think we have a couple of them, but for different reasons. You got Tiago Dias, who I think has become the de facto leader of that back line. You've got a Michael Rempel running the left sideline, and he's just a workhorse, and he's going to beat you down the sideline. He's going to beat you with the throw in. He's going to beat you with the set piece. He's just all over the place, and he's hard to keep track of on that side. So he likes to play high. So I think those are times that Fort Wayne has gotten caught out, when one of our guys gets a little high, whether it's a wing back or whether it's a center back that steps in and steps high, exposing some spaces in the back line. But they're getting better and better as they go. And so with some of your attacking players that you just mentioned, it'll be fun to watch how Coach Avery and that back line adjusts to them. I'm not concerned about the offense. They're clicking, they're moving. The back line is the one that we've got to watch other teams attack for sure.
Yeah, and I think even with you mentioning some of the speed that you have, I don't think we're a slow back line. There's definitely some good times where maybe there's been an opening and our guys have been able to catch players and run them down. But even with a pretty high possessive style, it's just easy for the team to creep forward as possession is maintained. And so, if y'all are able to time up that run at the back line and stay on side with it, I think there very plausibly could be some chances along the way. So I don't know what the over under is going to be set at, and just go put something into investments. Don't be betting on third tier soccer, but it feels like a game where at least in spirit, taking the over, right? Both teams with attacks that are really clicking right now, with the ability to cause issues, even for tough defenses. There could be some fireworks here.
Yeah. Fort Wayne just stole a game from Boise on their home turf, and you guys are in good form coming into our place where we haven't lost yet. And so they're going to want to defend that, right? Having gone into Boise and said, we took it from you, no one's going to take it from us. But you guys are in good form coming into Fort Wayne, wanting to steal that first match away from Fort Wayne in our new stadium. So any predictions for this match? I know you're not betting on lower league soccer, but if you had to make a call, what would you say?
Well, actually, before I get to this, shout out for those of y'all that have been listening. I appreciate y'all's time. With family there, we're looking at being in Fort Wayne for Christmas. So drop some coffee recommendations.
Oh, there you go.
Because we staying caffeinated is just a great way to a good life in general. So before I give this, I'm gonna at least mention this now, so you've got enough time to think of the coffee shops that we should be hitting.
There you go.
Predictions for this outcome, I'll say 2-2. I always want to back us to win, and I think we definitely can. But some of the travel y'all have protected home field very well so far. Both teams in good form. I posted something on my Instagram story the other day. I think back in week 7, week 8, we were next to each other in the table at 15th and 16th. A lot different now. Y'all are 5th or 6th, something like that.
Yeah, number 5 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so been moving our way up. So I'll say 2-2. I think splitting the spoils here is a result that if we flub a wide open header in the 90+3, I think we'll regret only getting 1 point out of it. But I think going to a good team and getting a point, now that we've gotten a couple wins under our belt, now we're quieting some of the pressure that we were under early in the season. I'll take a draw, and so I've got this weird optimism pessimism mix sometimes. But I'll say we get a point out of it. But I'll say 2, and then for the specific scoreline, I'll say 2-2. Because I think there will be goals in this game. We've got 3 of the top 5 goal scorers in the league all at it in one matchup. And Des Dunes isn't even in that number. We've got other guys who can contribute. Godwin Antwi's been finding his form on the right wing for us. So I'll say 2-2. I think there's goals in it. I think it's going to be pretty balanced.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I don't like to call a draw. I might call a draw, but I may go 2-1 in favor of Fort Wayne this week, only because it's at the home stadium, right? They know what it feels like to beat a team on their home field for the first time, and they don't want to be on the other side of that. So I think they're going to throw everything they have at AV Alta. We've seen guys in really top form. I do think you're right. There's going to be some goals. I'd go 2-1, 3-2, something like that in this one. It's going to be a tight game, I believe. But I think Fort Wayne has been finding ways to continue to do it. And I may be surprised. I just haven't seen AV Alta play all that much, but taking your word for these matchups that are coming in and the form that you guys are rolling into. So, it should be a good one this weekend.
If nothing else, if I had just gone into Boise and won 3-1, I'd be picking a win as well. So I'll give you a pass on it this time.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw Lily Enrico's celebrations up in Boise, but I would just posted a clip on our Instagram. You'll have to check out of us talking about that last night. It was a fun one for sure. Check that out. We do have a couple coffee houses here as we wrap up the show. Firefly Coffee House, been there. It's a good one. And Black Forest Cat Cafe. You can go even if you're allergic. I don't know that one.
We've got 2 cats. So we've got a very ornery and really unsettlingly smart calico, and a fluff for brains little gray one. So they're both great. But yeah, the cat cafe will be a win, I'm sure. We'll keep in mind Firefly as well.
Yeah. There's a couple downtown. I'll send you some recommendations as well. So when you're in town, maybe we'll hit one of those up. Would love to connect and have coffee with you in one of our local places here. Christina says I need to get out more. Yeah, maybe I do. I've spent all my time talking soccer behind a microphone, so maybe I do need to get out a little bit more. Well, David, thanks for being part of this episode of Crests Colors. It's been a pleasure talking to you, getting to know you as a person, getting to know your background and your writing, but then getting to know the team through you. So thanks for joining us. And I absolutely, when you're in town, would love to connect if you have the time, and hopefully we'll make it out there to your neck of the woods at some point and see what you guys have to offer out there in Antelope Valley.
Yeah, come get some in and out or something like that. So thanks for joining to hear. Really, I feel like more about Antelope Valley than Fort Wayne. So for all the Fort Wayne fans that have been listening more to our side of things, I appreciate it. If you're interested in AV, check out Tumbleweed Times on Substack, on Instagram, and y'all have an exciting thing going. And hopefully over these weeks and months, getting to just enjoy all of the ups and downs and everything in between of the journey. It's a lot of fun for the community of it and the sports excellence of it and all of that. So it's a roller coaster, but just buckle in, right? And it's a great time. So I appreciate you having me on, Brian. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Crests Colors. We'll talk to you next time. with our next opponent.